what will be happening here. So, my name is Zuzanna Berendt. I work for the Zbigniew Raszewski Theatre Institute in Warsaw. We are producer of the exhibition of countries and regions, and the exhibition, the student exhibition, and as well some other parts during the PQ. Our partner that prepared this fantastic food and wine is Polish Institute in Prague, and the whole project was co-financed by the Ministry, Polish Ministry of Culture and National Heritage. And I will tell you what this collective lecture meeting will be about. It will be a performative event, and it will consist of two small parts. One will be more meta-reflection on the collective process of our artists and researchers that was happening during a year and a half. And the result of this is the book, the catalog that you will see here, and also we have it there, as well audiobooks that are placed in this particular space. And everything was actually inspired by this particular place, so the former slaughterhouse. And I will name you so you know. It's Magdalena Franczak, Michał Fronk, Ida Ślęzak, Zuzanna Berendt, Majewska, Ludomir Franczak. And the only missing person is Sára Märc, but we will hear from her. And the second part will be more a glimpse into the collective practice that they were doing, and it will be more performative. After that, we invite you to take a wine and talk and share your thoughts with us. So. I will start with the opening question that will go to our collective. And my opening question to you is if you can tell more about the process and how has it looked like and why you transformed the whole process you did into the form of the book, the audiobooks. And the pavilion, that is actually a living organism. It has no shape. So, welcome. Thank you for coming. And the floor is yours. Whoever wants to start.
Before we start, I would just have a very practical information. Usually during our meetings, we use a timer to set the frames of the whole part. So this part is going to take 15 minutes, and I'm setting the time. So don't be surprised when you hear the phone.
Okay, so the timer is set.
Yeah. Ready, go.
I will start with a few initiating thoughts. As Krysia said, the whole process took about 15 months. We were working processually, meeting regularly on the Zoom to kind of create the environment of thinking together during the meetings and also in between them. And that allowed us to kind of create a formula when we don't share, we don't have specific tasks that we work on individually and then just present it to others members of the collective, but we have the whole process of decision making and creating specific materials for the work is also done together during the meetings, during the conversation, and also in the parts in between when we just kind of reflect on what was said during the meetings. And the formats that you mentioned, exhibition, the book, and audio walks were a negotiation between the requirements of the exhibition and the ideas that we came up with during the process. Maybe someone wants to take over?
Yeah, but I can maybe, sorry for my voice, it's a bit... maybe it's good to mention because we presented ourselves as a collective, but you don't know that there are no, for example, set designers among us, which might be surprising in the context of Quadriennale and its format. And actually this collective didn't exist before Ludomir, as an artist invited by the Theatre Institute in Warsaw, invited us, artists, architects, researchers, actresses, curators, to collaborate, activists, and we are also combining these roles to participate in this project and to form the collective, which means that the first period of our work was based mostly on setting the rules and creating the procedures, I would say, but maybe that word is too serious, to even can start to speak together and create some common ground for the work. So we start with the initial notion of looking around, which stayed as a title of our project, and you can see it on the cover of our book. But actually, before we started to looking around, we were looking among ourselves to see what kind of approaches are between us and what can we create together and how can we do it. Knowing that we are based in different cities and even different countries, because Sára Märc is from here, from Prague, but we are from different cities in Poland. So this collective is multidisciplinary and spatial, if it's even the word. Yeah, so I pass the words to whoever is ready.
I think that the important thing is also that we speak with different languages because of different grounds, and we are using different tools. So this was also the kind of negotiation to use like 3 different paths, and one of them is book, another is exhibition, and the third is a sound walk, and they are going together. So they are the same way of importance. They have the same way of importance.
I can pick up on that. I think that from the very beginning we were interested in not that normative approaches to the knowledge creation, in which the expert knowledge isn't that important. That's why, even though we are coming from the backgrounds that each of us knows best, we were very democratic towards like sharing various tools. In a sense that we didn't really work interdisciplinary, but really transdisciplinary, crossing the boundaries and discovering how we can learn from each other's practices in our own, and also how we can think of the knowledge created through the artistic practice and research practice as equal knowledges, and also knowledges that can be done together. And the context for us, which is the relationship with more than human words, is super important when we speak about those alternative ways of knowledge creation. We really feel that there is this need to think through again how we think together, not only with other humans coming from various disciplines, but also with non-humans. That's why we're so interested in thinking with the space, thinking with its non-human inhabitants, with its past, with its futures, with the possibilities that are there, and with the very sometimes complex and problematic stories that are also hidden.
If I can comment on that?
Sure.
Is it okay? So I think that the very important part of our work was kind of making sense of of us working together, especially or particularly as people who use to communicate with, or who use different languages to communicate with the world, or use different tools of like intervening in the world. And what helped us kind of overcome this situation of just speaking from the area of each own's expertise was the perspective of like tools or methods that we are using or we are used to operating with. And for Magda, this tool is sculpture making, for example, working with with materials. For me, how it's architecture, creating like objects in the space and drawing. Yeah, very much. For me, it's an academic research and writing things. And when we started to see those things as the tools that we use, we discovered that we can share them, and we can kind of we can take our tool and give it to another person, and maybe we can meet in a team like 2 or 3 people, and we can create a tool that will be combining these specific ways of working that we have. That are particular for us. So that was this is what the book is about actually. The different experiments with working using those tools. We have 3 parts there. First is exercises. And each of us created one exercise that is an invitation of exploring the surrounding, exploring the ecosystems and entanglements that are, creating this place, or this place is emerged from them, in a way that is specific to our interests and our ways of thinking. Next is traces, that are fragments of the research that are not finished but just opens exploration of the specific topic that is opened by this space. Maybe someone wants to continue
about the book.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. So the next part of the book is about walks. Rita is involved in the discussion.
That's nice.
Yeah, and the last part of the book, maybe there are 2 last. One is devoted to the pavilion and the audio walks that are part of the installation, and the last is further reading, so you can explore with us what the fields that were maybe not so much covered in our research. And I think that it's very important that we decided to create a work that will be a site-specific work and not to bring to Prague anything prepared in Poland that would be totally, how to say it, out of the context of this place. So we started with looking around here to search for the stories that we wanted to articulate, to search for the objects that we want to involve in the exhibition, and to search for the sound that we want you to hear while following the paths that we traced between those buildings, by the riverside. You can explore it all using the Echo application. And maybe it's good to mention that the walks will actually stay here. So we were very maybe not anxious, but we were thinking about what it means to create a project for over a year and then to came to the exhibition that lasts only 10 days, and these days are very intensive, of course. But somehow, in the context of ecological thinking and responsibility for that work that has been done, we were really eager to leave something here, but not an object, of course, but something that can be explored.
Also,
can I just interrupt you here? 3 minutes left, so maybe we can give space to the others.
Yeah.
Yeah, I overdraw myself. I'm a little bit out of the context of scenography, but I'm dealing with space. So in that collective, the main advantage for me was to learn to understand everything as a collective being. Because dealing with space is usually in my profession as something what you have to do from the beginning to the end as a goal, as something what will have concrete effect. So in here it was very knowledgeable for me how to learn to open thinking and to truly look around, not over-design the thinking, not think generally as a designer, but to think as a being and to prepare with others understanding of being and relations. So it was great advantage in book we have also some signs of that, the knowledge, the learning, the dialogue of those layers.
Yeah, so to pick up from that, Michał is an architect. That's why when he's saying he's not into theater design, his background is architecture. And to sum up everything, maybe a little, so it was a long process that we were working together, and we were really trying to work in a very horizontal way, and trying to convince each other every time we had a decision to make, and not to leave anybody behind with some kind of disagreement. Of course, it's not possible always, but I have a feeling that, for example, me, if I was left behind with my idea, I don't feel like it's a bad thing that happened. I see it as a kind of collective process, and I really appreciate this feeling of abandoning some processes or some ideas that we had initially. So just to sum up, this is, I think, how we work together. And now maybe we propose...
Just asking, Magda, would you like to add something? I thought it might be... just if you want to. Just...
No, I don't know. It's like you surprised me with this question.
Sorry,
I was just listening and... if I want to add something, I would like to add this process, because we were talking about this connection between us and working with the process, but the context of the place is like really, really important for us, and it's not accidental. And thinking with the space where we are, it was really important for us, not overbuilding new scenography for something what is existing, but instead of that, looking around and looking carefully. This looking carefully was really important to us. And then when you look carefully and when you focus on this look, then you can find the stories under. And this under stories was also very important to us for visual and verbal language and the sound as well.
Sorry, I asked. It's just, the collective struggle to kind of give space to everyone equally, which is all the time negotiated. That's why I'm asking.
Okay, so we proceed further, right? So now we would like to elaborate on some parts of our work, actually, and also the process a little, with an exercise that I propose. That's why I'm talking about it. So when we are thinking about this lecture, this kind of talk, then we were wondering how to proceed with it. And one of ideas that we came up with is these few keywords that are really important to us during the process, but also maybe we'll explain a little bit of our work, because of course if you work on something for such a long time, then you feel like there are so many contexts, and you as newcomers to us, you probably don't know much about this work. So how to present it to you, how to present this complexity. So we thought of 7 words that could be really important for our work and for the way we were working with it. And we have a small lottery here with those 7 words. And actually we made it once before just for Sára, because Sára cannot be here today. She had to travel to her grandmother. And but then we made this word checking before. So she picked up 1 word, and she will start this presentation from a recording she made for us. And this first word is look around. So it's our exhibition title, but for the list of corrective, we don't know which word we will pick up, so come on. This is the lottery.
Yes.
Let's see. Yeah. Not this. Okay, so let's try to connect Sára. We have her voice and her.
For this part, the time limit for each person is 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Our speaker speaks Polish. We spoke Polish, Czech and English during the process.
Hello everybody, my name is Sára, sorry not being there. So now, I will read you something. Look around. For now, I am not going out the Polish pavilion in Prague Quadrennial, but rather encouraging you to move your head and look around. What do you see? And maybe also what you do not see. Look around is not just a title or a proposition for your attention. It's also an invitation to go out, to use doors that are not for entering but exiting only. Doors are the main object of the pavilion, even though they are not centered, decorated, or named. They are invisible to regular visitors, even to me. Doors part of the building, doors the practical tool. But actually, they are the reason why we chose this area of the building. Doors allow you to leave the exhibition and lead your attention to the things, bodies, artworks and sounds outside the gallery space. What I see plenty of materials. Humans, human creations, human work. I see objects and more than human bodies, they are used. I see money, I see waste, I see art pieces. They are humans, visitors, creators, security guards, habitants of the city. Maybe I can see a bit of nature in the cracks of the pathways. Architecture, I can walk, I can breathe. I can have a dialogue with somebody or with something. Look around is not just a title or the proposition for your attention. It's also an invitation to go out, not to escape from somewhere to elsewhere, but rather connect those spaces. Give the attention we used to spend in galleries to the surrounding environments and to actual materials, bodies, sounds and smells.
Jeszcze raz, jeszcze raz! Jeszcze raz, jeszcze raz! This was a recording from the montage. So it's just
Okay, that was look around.
It
Number
was
2.
playing with the sound.
No, it was Michał playing with the sculpture.
Number
actually.
2. I have number 2. It's a slaughterhouse.
Can you put
Yeah. It's a lineup. Yeah, that's heavy one. Because it's about our context of our work in this particular space. I remember when we've been here in May last year, and then I start to feel where we are actually, and trying to understand when we are. And then I've seen the floor, and the floor was like really important to me. I start to look at the floor and what this floor means to me. That is the same floor that it used to be before, when it used to be a slaughterhouse in here, and then what is in these cracks, one is in these traces and the small spots on the floor. And then I started to think about this floor as a kind of skin, and the skin between underfloor and the part when we are leaving our traces on. And then I start to think about the different kind of skins on the in this slaughterhouse. Also the skin of the building, which protects outside from inside, which is broken and corroded, and what kind of traces are there, and what kind of organism lives there. They are invisible, but they are still there. And I start to think about this skin storage, which is there, where used to be where the people were like keep the skins from as a leftover from the meat production process in the skin storage. It looks like a spaceship down there, and so I start to think about the different materialities of the space that they are speaking to us, and the language of this materiality that we can still see and that is disappearing because of the process of this renovation of the space. So now we can see this underworld, underskin, and I was quite happy that they start to scratch this skin from this building, that we can see another skin and this underskin. And then I start to think about it, what we feel through our skin in the slaughterhouse. So this was my thought about this space, the slaughterhouse where we are.
Okay, so I'm the second one to pick up from, third one to pick up from there. And this is actually what Magda was talking about. It's about skins. So it's easy to pick up from there because she talked about her feeling on the skin. I'm educated as a leather restorer, so my attitude toward skin and leather is a little different, but then when I came here, I could almost feel the smell of this leather which was produced here during the slaughterhouse times. But also, when I think of skin, I think of a surface. And then this is actually a very good combination of the words, because the slaughterhouse is the surface that we see here when we enter. That was for us anyway. That was important, that this place was a place where we kill animals. And those places, they are moved outside of towns, outside of our visibility now. So you can also look for traces of other species here, actually. So this slaughterhouse became a surface for us to research further on this kind of dichotomy that we have between human and animals, and different kind of dichotomies. Actually, I said before that if I take a word that I cannot elaborate too much on, I will kidnap it into dichotomy. So here we are. And these dichotomies, they were also very important for us, and we were trying to erase them, to work. This is also something I think is really killing a word today, that we are on two sides of different barricades in every aspect of our lives. So we were trying to see what is beyond that? What is beyond all these, let's say, barricades? So in this situation, in this situation of the former slaughterhouse, of the skin of the animals, I walked around and I saw a lot of traces of animals that I really love, the beavers. They live by the river here. And actually, when I was here in February, I walked around the river and it showed up because I was looking for the beavers' houses and I couldn't find them. The beavers are there, but where do they live? So if you go on our walk by the river and you see the ships standing on the other side of the river, then you should know that behind those ships there is one of the houses of the beavers. And in our exhibition, I'm also a little bit responsible for the beaver sticks. So the sticks, you can see them, it's beaver sticks that I've been collecting for, okay, I just finished the sentence, for last 3 years near the river where we live, Wiecz River, which is also connecting me personally with the space here.
I will pick up from here with more than humans. So, as Ludek said about this, about dichotomies that create kind of very strong division and that are guarded by boundaries or barriers or skins, like surfaces, right? That's the subject that was really kind of guiding us. And more than human words means looking or trying to kind of understand and see all of those things that are not human, and by this we can mean animals, both the one living here now and the ones that used to be killed here. We can mean the materiality of the space, or see it as a kind of flows of different materialities, and as our bodies, that is also something that we are working with very much. Is looking at more than humans means also understanding what it means to be human in a different way. It means that our skin and the boundary of our body is not really closing us or separating us from the space, but it's porous, and everything from the outside is leaking inside of us, and that these are both the materialities and the stories, the histories of this space that are being open, or the presence of contemporary reality of the global meat production or just global food production are also something that is being open here. It means also looking at plants that are growing here in the space of Jatka. These are the things we're trying to trace with our walks, and with the walks that are site-specific, that are situated in the space, and that you can actually only access through going to the certain places in the surroundings. We are also trying to show you those places where the natural and culture is mixing in a way that we found interesting.
Oh, perfect timing. Proximity. So we are back to the skin. Can I start with checking something?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, because actually when we were discussing the words, and I will give you some backstage arrangements, Sára proposed the word proximity, and then we were like, yeah, but the proximity is something that Zuza, so me, would have something to say about, because I prepared for the section with exercises in the book, the exercising proximity checkup, and I will maybe say something more about it later, but oh no, you can't actually see the letters here. But I was together with Magda doing this research on skin in the framework of our project, and just in the beginning I found out that the Greek, one of the meaning for the Greek word skin is right up close. So something that is really like close to us. And when I was deepening my research into the skin, which is a surface that lets us communicate with animals, but also the surface, I dealt with it in a way that we can also treat the surfaces that are visible here as skins, where artists are with them. So here's the proximity. So I started this exercise with this idea that in the so-called contemporary world, we rarely know how, with what we are dealing in the context of from how far something came to us. And when we are eating something, we don't know if it, or we know that it was produced far away from here. When we are wearing clothing, then we can assume that it was produced like many kilometers away from here. So things that are very close to our bodies and even became parts of our bodies come from the regions of the world that we rarely have a chance to visit. So the proximity checkup that is in the book is like designed in a way to reflect on how many scales are combined in the world that we are living now. And also I was really interested walking here in the area of the former slaughterhouse. How can we bring in the space, like getting to know this architecture, these structures, but also textures of the buildings? How can we understand the past? So get some kind of proximity with the times that are so far away from us, not in space but in time. So I stop here.
I can take that from here. Can you check the time?
Yeah, but I don't know what.
Six.
Maybe I will just
Relations.
So Michał is now.
Oh my god, I can't count. I'm so sorry.
So 6 is after 5, yeah.
So it's my turn.
Yes.
It's very difficult mathematics. I'm sorry.
Relations. First, when I'm thinking about relations, it's connected with collective relations, but while we were processing our traces, scores, and methodologies, I was more and more dealing with, for me, the problem of not over-creating my kind of looking around. And it was very hard to handle, not to create, literally, not to create around what you are looking at. So my trace is about this, about that mainly. I can show it also, use the publication, which is very beautiful. You should touch it and smell it and take it.
It's before.
So it was about inventory as a method of curiosity and mindfulness of what is around you. And inventory is a technical kind of measuring the measuring the space and the relations in space and percentages of materiality, materials, and it was used in my method. So technical kind of curiosity tool in some mental and meditational way of using it. So I've done a legend in technical way of materials which are surrounding us, and they are always like in relations. So few of the spots from Jadka were starting points for that kind of meditation, let's call it like that. And by studying the spot, the fragment of that, I've made some kind of study of relations between substances and materiality of those places. But when you are starting to dealing with that, to do that kind of meditation, you are not thinking about the general materiality of the situation, but relations between those materials, and it has some kind of dichotomy in it, but it also relating with my understanding of our work together, because it was always like see the fragments, and after that understand the relations between us and those fragments. So it was over and over again about rereading the situation and looking around.
Okay, now it's really my turn. I will do this also better. My work is moving, and I have two connotations with that. The first one is that basically our method of doing research was literally moving physically around the space. I can show you the first part of our book is actually about those methods that we would love to share with you if you would like to check them here. It's also my work. We call it exercises in looking around. We have here proximity checkup. Those are the methodologies of getting to know space, creating the embodied knowledges through the living experience of like enhancing our senses, thinking with the non-human world multisensually. So that would be my first connotation with moving. And the second one would be the sort of like the mobility of non-human flesh in the global scale. We've been doing the research about something that we call strange intimacies, that the flesh of non-humans is actually being added to many products that we don't really know of very often. You can smear animals' fat in your skin for the body lotion. You can find it in like colorful cards on which we do the notes. It's basically everywhere. So this sort of closeness and intimacy that we have with the non-humans that are part of our daily products is creating this like crossing the boundary of the skin, making us someone different, not just us, someone more than a subject, someone who's being penetrated with the non-human materiality all the time. We are actually non-humans as well. And now, since I'm the last one, I would like to invite you for informal talks. We're going to hang around here, have a treat there, enjoy the food, and we would love to chat informally now. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.